I haven't spent much time in any halfway normal schools. Oh, yup. So I can't really call myself an authority on the subject, but the thing called homework is truly a pain in the ass. Exactly. I've been telling you this whole time that homework is trash. Even when exams are approaching and you know you have to buckle down, you'll find yourself making more progress on cleaning your room rather than reading textbooks, reflexively seeking out any possible distraction from reality. Some people handle it better than others, but in general, nobody's at their best when they're forced to confront something troublesome. Just facing up to an arduous pile of problems requires some willpower. At present, Magna's the homework I need to confront. Whoa! I mean, what? That was a what's the word I'm looking for? That's an odd uh metaphor, I suppose, for what's going on. And due to the truly enormous scope of the problem, using youthful energy to force my way to a solution hasn't gone so smoothly. There's been a lot of unproductive agonizing going on. Of course, considering the imminent danger, it's clear that taking immediate action would be the best. If I've got the time to procrastinate using my daily running routine as pretext, it'd probably be better spent charging into the Arisu home with a dagger in my hand and at least trying to do my duty by stabbing. However, we're dealing with a conglomerate strongly tied to the nation itself. No matter how fiercely a single mutt barks and snarls outside the gate, they're not exactly going to shake in their shoes. Yeah, but it's us they're talking about. And even if by some chance the world were to tilt in an unexpected direction, how could we hope to compensate society for the resulting damage? No matter how hard I think, the answers don't come. It's easy enough to boast that you'll stick to your guns no matter who tries to push you around. But the simple fact is that fighting the power almost never ends badly for the power in the question and the Glavins. Hell, if one individual's stubborn resistance were enough to frustrate those entrusted with authority, the way of the world would change fundamentally, and not necessarily for the better. In the end, I'm not much more than the country's pet dog, and the Irisu bear exceptional influence with my master. I can't even bear my fangs against them. But here's what it comes down to. I want to keep Makina safe, even if it costs me my life. Yeah, you do that. We promised her. I don't give a damn about the national interest. On a very simple, very personal level, Irisu Makina is my first and absolute priority. I love when she just has this face of just utter surprise. Probably because what I'm saying right now. I love you, Makina, more than anyone else in the world. Oh, was I like in my during my like brain mind talk? I just say this out loud, and she's just happening to be strolling along.
何急に。
No, she was just there the whole time. I'm affirming my own feelings, that's all. The fact that I love you, that you're the one thing I should prioritize above all else. I was just speaking those thoughts out loud to see if they rang true. Well,
おお、してその結果はいかに。
so serious. In terms of my personal feelings, there's nothing wrong with those words. Makina, you're definitely the most important thing in the world to me. However, as a wise man once said, there's no woman in the world who more troublesome than your mother. It's a little hard to say this to our own daughter, but I don't think it's possible to phrase this both gently and accurately. I'm going to be frank here. Your mom's a psychopathic bitch. I mean, he's not wrong. And despite this long, convoluted attempt at an excuse, when you get right down to it, I'm afraid of her.
うん、それは、うん、実の娘の私が言うのもなんだけど、私のお母さんは子供がそのまま大人になったような残酷な人だからビビっちゃうのもわかる話なのよ。
And she's like, she's a very arrogant, but she's smart. and cold and... To be honest, I don't have the strength to confront your family head on. Given that, there are only two possibilities. We can run and hide, yeah, or we can try and hold out and find a way to endure their one-sided abuse. To be honest, I can't bring myself to make that call. What do you want me to do? No. Please tell me what I should do, Makina.
だからって私に聞かれても、私個人の都合でパパを振り回す結果になるのは目に見えているのに。
It's okay.
何も言えないのよ。
Makina, you need to realize my life means nothing at this point other than you. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Alright, in that case, let's get a third option. We could pretend like they're the ones who pushed us into this, then do whatever we want while blaming it on them. How's that sound?
おお、極めて日本人的な責任転嫁なのよさ。さすがだよ。それでいこう。パパ超頭いいよ。
You're damn right. That's why I've been around for like 18 years. No matter how skilled a soldier you may be, when you're unsure of the next move, don't try to muddle through it alone. Consult your superior officer. Battles are won and lost on the big picture level of stratagems. No one man on the ground can see the whole board. Blundering ahead blindly, guided only by emotions or values, is the kind of criminal stupidity that invites disaster. When I was very young, the person who looked down on the board from above was always my sister. If I did as she told me, I could at least avoid the worst case scenario no matter what the situation. After my sister's death, the next person to watch the big picture for me was my master. But Asuko's advice tended to be a little heavy on the brute force approach, sometimes to the point of excess. JB was an indispensable counterweight, leaning heavily in the opposite direction. Asuko loved the high-risk, high-return play. JB strongly favored low risk, low return. That's me. I raised... what? Brain, why'd you say I? Raised under their mutual guidance, I naturally began to weigh their options against each other, searching for the answer that felt correct for me. But today, Asuko's no longer around to offer one of those staggeringly drastic plans that always left you wondering if she even thought about the consequences. Even if I could consult with JB with this, she'd without a doubt recommend looking for a way to maintain the status quo. But that's nothing more than the passive opinion of a woman focused on the way the winds are blowing. Should we give in or resist? To break this sort of deadlock, you really do need someone who can provide a big picture perspective. Oh, Jesus.
なぜ私のところへ来るのかしら?
I was like, it's either gonna be Yumiko or Amine for whatever reason. Isn't it obvious? There aren't many people in this school even familiar with the circumstances, and despite the whole Neutral Observer Act, you're constantly giving us precise and timely advice.
だからって私にどうしろというの?
Well, I don't expect you to do anything. Hell, look at it as standing in for a coin flip. Just casually call out heads or tails if you want. That's fine. You do understand the situation, yes?
それでも結果はつきまとうわ。私が気楽に決めた結果で、あなたたちがどうなっても責任は取れないし、後悔もしたくはない。他を当たってちょうだい。
Like that's a big thing to put on someone just randomly. God damn it.
そんな冷たいこと言うなよ。他には相談できないの知ってるでしょ?
Cold. That's Yumiko in a nutshell.
だからって私だって困るのよ。そんなこと。
Oh, I understand we're asking a lot, but if I had to make an analogy faced with the approach of an overwhelming, powerful American army, do you continue fighting down the last soldier, or accept being branded a coward, swallow your tears, and return to help lay the cornerstones of your nation's long, painful rebirth? Even if you consult the non-com who's taken over your platoon after the CO bit the dust, he'll just snarl, "What the hell do I know? Make up your own damn mind," in response. If anything, you're better off making a field appointment in the absence of a true CO. Shout, I forgot what is that court? No, that's what is that rank again? Is that corporal? That's got to be corporal, right? Oh Jesus. Kazami, you're the leader of this platoon. Then give him a temporary promotion to second lieutenant. Your man can't help but stiffen his spine. However, even knowing full well then that I'm being unreasonable, I want to ask you once more. What should I do, Commander Sakaki?
中隊長って
Don't mind me.
注意殿、お言葉を。あなたがたった一言、私たちに死ねと言ってくだされば、私たちは何年でもこの島に立てこもり、一兵でも多くの敵をほふりましょう。
This is a lot to like put on fucking poor Yumiko over here. Like what the fuck?
あのね、これは軍隊ごっこじゃないのよ。そんな大事なことを私の意見でどうにかしようというのがそもそもの間違いだわ。
That is definitely a big fucking problem.
あなたたち、私を神様か何かと勘違いしていない？
I mean, you are probably the smartest one out of everyone. So you say, but if you remove a single character from the name Sakaki, you're left with the kanji for God, so...
おお、うまいこと言うな。
Got him. Sakaki, my friend, no. My God, tell us what we should do. I beseech you.
ほら、お賽銭あげるのよさ。ぜひご神託を。ゴッドゴッド。
私に小銭を投げつけるのはやめなさい。
You're literally throwing gold. Just here you go. There are no atheists in foxholes, as they say. The opponent's far more powerful than us. That reality's clearer than the sight of the bomber soaring overhead to their way to devastate the mainland. How meaningful would it be to barricade ourselves away in this island? Is dying and becoming a patriotic spirit really the only righteous choice? But survival gained by turning tail and fleeing is a shameful thing. Anyone with a shred of compassion for those left behind couldn't accept such a selfish path. The only easy way to resolve this is by sending Makina home to her family immediately. But what awaits there is, well, her death, in spirit if not in body. But if I were to flee with Makina in tow, those left behind in the school might very well suffer consequences as well. The worst case scenario, there's no guarantee they won't be taken as hostages. It would be bullshit. Then I'd have to come and save the day. I understand that I'm being tested here. But it seems I'm a hopeless loser who can't make his own decisions when push comes to shove, okay? Please help me, Sakaki. Please.
よしこ。
だからユミコを勝手にヨシコにするなと何度も言っているでしょう。
Sorry about that. Kids these days feel they need to invent slang for everything they see. Try to let this one slide.
だいたい答えはもう決まっているんでしょ。だったら好きにしたらいいじゃない。あなたたちは結局後始末を私に押し付けたいだけなのよ。違う？
Ooh. That hits hard. You're not wrong. That's exactly how it is. I know we're being incredibly selfish. This might end up causing serious problems for you and the others. But even so, I want to protect Makina.
私の正直な意見を言っても構わない？
That's kind of what we want. Go ahead.
この学園ではある程度の安全が保障されているとはいえ、イリスさんが標的になっている以上、イリスさん本人はもちろんのこと、 他の学園生においても保護はしきれないというのが現状よ。同じ学び屋で席を並べた友を放り出すのは私としても忍びないところではあるけれども、学園経営者の娘としては苦渋の決断をせざるを得ない。
Oh, she's about to kick us out so fast.
イリス・マキナさん、あなたを当学園から除籍します。
Damn. I mean, I guess this is good for us. Sort of.
除籍。
Wow. In other words.
休学でも退学でもなく除籍。つまり書類上はイリス・マキナはこの学園にはいなかったということになるわ。
I see. Erasing every document with the name Irisu Makina on it is probably only prudent under the circumstances, which would mean me as well?
ええ、あなたもよ。風見雄二なんて学生、うちにはいなかった。それでいいのでしょ？学園長や他の子たちには私から説明しておくわ。
ユミちゃん。
Sorry for the hassle.
いいのよ。逆に言えば、それぐらいしかしてあげられないのが私なのだから。
Alright, Makina. Since that's decided, wanna run away with me?
逃げよう。地の果てまでも。
Fuck it. Let's go. Skagi's right, of course. Whatever I might have said, the truth is I'd already made up my mind. A snap of Irisu's fingers is enough to leave people dead. They can't be persuaded or negotiated with. Staying here would leave me grinding my teeth impotently. If I curl into a ball and wait for the hurricane to pass, I'll ultimately be forced to kill Makina with my bare hands. Given a choice between killing her and running away, I'd naturally choose the latter. But disappearing into the night without a word would be agonizing, knowing that those we're leaving behind might well face unjust suffering. I simply couldn't bring myself to do what needed to be done. And now Sakaki's agreed to assume the role of protecting the school from the consequences of our actions. Sakaki, thank you. Now I can run away with a clean conscience.
ユミちゃん、私からもありがとう。
It's just like I still don't. Yumika's like I mean, I'm doing this, but I'm not happy about it.
私は厄介者を追い出しただけよ。お礼を言われるようなことは何もしていないわ。
Oh, come on. Don't be like that.
まあ、すべての方がついたら、またこの学園へ戻っていらっしゃい。除籍とはいえ、再入学はいつでも歓迎するから。
Apparently overcome with emotion at Sakaki's unexpectedly warm words, Makina spreads out her arms like a bird flapping its wings. Taking advantage of the momentary distraction this provides, she proceeds to barrel forward into Sakaki's bosom. Ah! Well, she's dead now. Closing to a grappling range with an exemplary slide dash before her target can even evade, Makina twines her legs tightly around Sakagi's knees, cutting off any possibility of retreat.
ありがとう、ユミちゃん。私、きっとここに帰ってくるから。
One of these days they're gonna come back.
わかったから、話して。
She's giving you love. Deal with it.
それまで元気でね。
Oh. Makina forces her lips against those of her immobilized prey, and the girl's not playing around either. From this passionate lesbian show, accompanied by the faint clacking of teeth against teeth, I sense something like the essence of female friendship. A profoundly moving spectacle. Brings a tear to the eye. Makina's a strong girl, ain't she? Oh, after a while, Skagi seems to somewhat grow agitated, releasing her grasp on Makina to thump on the girl's back like a martial artist signaling surrender. They are, in fact, kissing a very long time. But the situation seems to be developing further. Skagi slapping against Makina's back becomes progressively weaker, and the muffled grunts leaking out of the corner of her mouth grow sweet in tone. Now that I look very carefully, while maintaining her twining leg lock on Skagi, Makina seems to be grinding her knees vigorously against the woman's crotch. Oh, providing rough, erotic stimulation. Looks like you've stepped up your game once again, Makina. Taking in this radiant scene of womanly affection and noting with approval the maturation of my favorite pupil, I fold my arms in front of my chest and nod deep in satisfaction. I hope, he just walks away, too. There you go. Perhaps running out of breath at last, Makina extracts her tongue from Skagi's mouth with a wet pop, then sucks down on a great lungful of air.
ユミちゃん大好きだよ
That happened.
何をするのよ。なんでキスしたの？
You think that was Yumiko's first kiss? Oh my god. Oh, that moment you fucking click out of the game? Yeah, that's cool.
なんでって俺
なんで？だって女の子同士で。え？なんで舌入れたの？
See, I could have understood this kissing, but then the tongue happened.
サービス
Alright, Makina.
もうそんなお礼とかサービスとかいいからとっととこの学園から出て行ってちょうだい。
Now we just pissed her off. That's cool. Thanks, Makina. God damn it! Sakaki, no! Ah, I haven't even managed to say goodbye yet.
追い出されちゃったのよさやつはなんであんな怒ってんの
Because you basically attacked her and stole her lips. Don't ask me. Perhaps she grew flustered over being brought to the verge of a slight orgasm by the likes of you.
お礼がしたかっただけなのに失敗しちゃったかな
You literally shoved your tongue in her mouth and started rubbing against her crotch with your legs. Who knows? She made a good show being angry, but for all we know, she might be abandoning herself to self-pleasure even as we speak, using the lingering reverberations as fuel.
あなたたちいい加減にしなさい。
I knew she was gonna come out right there. Oh no! Makina, run! What the shit? As a blunt projectile shatters noisily against the floor behind us, Makina and I flee at a sprint. You know, Makina, we have to say goodbye to this school now. Are you really alright with that?
うんきっとこうするのが一番いいんだよほら猫ってさ死ぬ時が迫ると飼い主の前からいなくなるって言うじゃない
Oh,
私もそんな感じなのよさ
don't say that. Don't say that.
このままスッとみんなの前からいなくなってうるさい子だったなーってバカな子だったなーってちゃんと元気にしてるのかなーってそんな風に思われたままいなくなりたいよ
Well, maybe we'll be able to come back anyway. It's fine. You won't die. I won't let you. There's nothing to worry about.
ありがとうパパ
Oh boy. Now we've decided to move, there's no reason to drag our feet. Sometimes a single minute's vacillation can prove fatal. Therefore, we're going to leave this place immediately. I'll give you 30 minutes. Attend to your affairs and gather your belongings within that time, then regroup here. Understood?
え、30分？
Only 30 minutes! Better than 40 seconds, right? Come on, get a move on. The clock's ticking.
わかった。
Get it, get your ass a going! After watching the girl patter off upstairs, I began to my own preparations for departure. Alright. That said, my personal luggage is pretty damn abysmal. I mean, minimal. Well, it also is abysmal. All I've got is a single oversized backpack I lugged here from Yamanashi, and even that's only halfway unpacked. I won't be taking away any of the additional household goods I purchased after my arrival at the school. Easy enough to buy new ones if they become necessary. The only things I really need for daily life in the short term are my tableware and portable stove. Cramming these into my backpack takes all of 5 minutes. I paused briefly to debate over what I should do with some half-read books Sakagi lent me, but since I probably won't have many chances to come return them, it'd be best to leave them here. If I really feel the need to finish reading one of them, I can just purchase my own copy. Well then, since I've finished packing nice and early, I have some time to think about what comes next. When you're on the run, a city is the ideal choice. The more densely populated, the better. Human beings have a natural tendency to hide out in some quiet little rural town in the middle of nowhere, but that's a serious mistake. The only people who think the country is full of kind-hearted folk living tranquil lives are city dwellers who've never been there. In reality, your typical village is a den of insular, malicious, and narrow-minded people. Yup, full of petty pride and obsessed with appearances. The countryside's a hell of a lot scarier than the city. And naturally, it's all the more cold and hostile a place for a complete stranger the locals bear no social obligations or debts of gratitude to. When I was a kid, my mother and I learned that lesson the hard way. Anyway, what do you mean anyway? Come on, tell me something. If we're going to try and hide out somewhere, ideally it should be a place neither Makina and I have even visited before. For people being chased by their enemies, take refuge in a place they're totally unfamiliar with. Pursuers naturally start by searching areas where the fugitive would have a home field advantage. If Mom and I had known that better back in the day, our lives might have turned out slightly better than they did. The thought does inspire some bitterness. But that's not exactly... There's not exactly anything to be done about that right now. I can only shake my head firmly and put it out of my mind. No! Tell me! So if we're running somewhere, I guess the city would be best. When you're hiding a tree, do it in a forest. It's always dark at the foot of the lighthouse. Yeah, there's a reason those proverbs have been passed down all this time. People pour in and out constantly. The residents are apathetic enough not to glance over at the next toilet stall. That's the city for you. However, massive crowds do have their downside. Although it'll be harder to find us, it also becomes more difficult for us to notice the movements of our enemies. It wouldn't be so bad if we just had the competing factions within the Arisu to worry about, but I doubt we're gonna get off that easy. My employer, Ichigaya, isn't gonna sit back and let me leave, and if Asaka moves, there's a possibility our friends in the NSA and CSS may get involved as well. However, like the old joke says, if you're in a town on the weekend and notice a Caucasian in golf clothes, leather shoes, and a pair of sunglasses, assume they're CIA. In other words, there are certainly ways to recognize those sorts of people. A thoroughly trained agent in their element is obvious at a glance. You can tell a CIA man when he's standing, and a CSS man when he's sitting, and an NSA man when he's walking. Considering the possibility of their involvement, it'd probably be best to avoid yuppie-infested areas of the city where business suits are common in favor of places overflowing with flashy young people. A neighborhood where punk kids go to get shit-faced would be ideal. Anybody walking straight in that sort of crowd would stand out like a sore thumb. Well then, I suppose it's about time. I glanced at the clock. Just about 25 minutes have passed since Maki and I split up. Having the rucksack containing everything I own onto my back, I leave the room and shut my door behind me.
あれユージ、あんた何その荷物？ どこ行くの？
I thought someone was gonna come out. I didn't think it would be Michiru though. I thought it would be Amane. Yeah, I think you might have a rough idea of the circumstances already, but Makina's in some real danger right now. The two of us are going to be hiding out for a while.
へえ、そうなんだ。どっか行き先のあてでもあるの？
No. No, nothing like that. Even if we did, it wouldn't be a good idea to use it.
なんか大変そうね。私に手伝えることってなんかある？
Just keep being you, kid. Well, let's see. If you have any cash on hand, a little farewell donation would be helpful.
急に言われてもな。
I didn't say you had to. I'm just. Although Michiru grimaces a little, she nonetheless retrieves her wallet from her pouch and takes a look inside.
ごめん、2000円しかない。
That's like $20. I could use that for something. That's plenty. Thanks. I'll make careful use of it. By the way, Michiru.
何よ。
You're not really acting all that surprised, are you?
まあね。由美子からそれとなく事情は説明されたし。私たちにはどうすることもできないし、むしろ下手に関わろうとしない方があんたたちの助けになるって本当なの？
Definitely true. Best not to get in this situation. Exactly right. There's nothing you can do, and if you stuck your head in anyway, you might as well end up becoming collateral damage, which is bad. However, as long as you're in the school, it seems Sakaki is going to keep you safe. You just forget about us and go on living normally.
全部型がついたら戻ってくるんでしょ？
I can't promise that, but I'll definitely try.
別にあんたなんてどうなってもいいけど、マキナだけはちゃんと守りなさいよね。私こう見えてもあの子のこと結構気に入ってんだから。
Oh, everyone in this school's got a little soft spot for that fucking woman. Yeah, I'll promise you that. No matter what happens, I'll protect Makina above all else. You can trust me on that one.
嘘よ。
What?
あんたのことはどうでもいいって言ったの。嘘。あんたもちゃんと帰ってくんのよ。
She let go of her suit for like the briefest of seconds. Don't think I'm particularly hard of hearing, but I didn't quite catch that. Mind repeating yourself one more time?
もううっさいわね。さっきの2000円あげたんじゃなくて貸したんだからね。勘違いすんじゃないわよ。
Oh yeah, more debt to pay.
ちゃんと返しに来なさいよね。わかったの？わかったら返事しなさい。
Look, you don't have to scream, okay? I can hear you just fine. I get it. I mean, do you just want the 2,000 yen back right now, or what?
返すんじゃないわよ。 何喧嘩してんのよさ。
Oh, well, I'm just giving her shit before we leave. It'll be a while before I'll be able to do this again. Oh, hey there, Makina. Ready to leave?
ザリガニも中庭の池に返してきたし、荷物も持ったよ。
Aw, she returned the crawfish.
ってあんたたちもう行っちゃうの？
Yep, gotta leave right away.
っていうかマキナ、あんた荷物ってそんだけ？そのカバンの中何が入ってるのよ？おやつとお財布と、あとは替えのパンツ。
That's it?
パンツって、そんだけ？
Only a single change of panties, too. The fuck?
足りないものがあれば買えばいいし、余計なものを持っても邪魔なだけなのよ。
A wise attitude.
マキちゃんは入院慣れしてるから荷物が少ないのにも慣れてるもんね。
Oh, we really gonna say goodbye to...
あ、サチ。マキちゃん、これさっき預かったリンゴの苗だけど、やっぱり私は受け取れないよ。これはマキちゃんが持って行って。でも。
Shh, we'll take it. Or if we can have Sachi keep it as a memento.
マキちゃんがいつか安住の地を見つけたら、そこに植えるといいよ。実がなる頃にはきっと全部片付いてるからね。
We can use it growing as a frame of time. One of those seedling of hope deals.
はい。いつかきっとみんなで笑いながらリンゴを食べられたらいいなって、そう思うんです。
Makina, why don't you take it?
わかった。じゃあいつかきっとみんなでリンゴ食べようね。楽しみにしてるね。ねえ、ちょっと本当に行っちゃうの？今すぐ？
Fucking Michiro, are you really about yeah. Not to worry, we'll meet again.
はい。お二人の武運長久をお祈りしています。ちょっと待ったー！
There she is! Huh? Hamane, fuck.
ちょいとお待ちよ、お前さんたち。マキナ、あんたこれ持っていきなさいな。ホームベーカリー。
Hold on a second. How big is this bread maker? Can't.
でもこれいいの？これさえあればいつでもパンが焼けるでしょ。
You can just keep doing what you love. This thing's gonna be a bit of a burden.
うるさいわね。あんた男の子なんだから、これぐらいの荷物増えたって平気でしょ。あんたが背負っていけばいいじゃないのよ。
Okay, I'll do that. Don't bite my head off. Oh yeah, well, I guess you're right.
あとこれあり合わせだけどお弁当詰めたから、お昼になったら食べなさいね。マキナの好きなタケノコとレンコンとサヤエンドウの煮たのも入ってるから。ありがとうなのよ。あとあんた部屋に携帯電話忘れてたわよ。これがなかったら電話できないじゃない。
I think that's the point. We can't. I don't think we can.
それはわざと置いてきたのよさ。え？なんで？
Because we can get tracked so hard. We're not going on a vacation, you know? It'd be like carrying around a convenient little homing device everywhere we go.
そっか。あまねさんは心配性ですね。
Well, she is the mommy of this family.
だってそういうさっちゃんは心配じゃないの？はい、私はマキちゃんも風見さんもちゃんと無事に帰ってくるって信じていますから。信じてるってだけで確証なんかないんでしょ？
Fucking Chiru, can you stop being pessimistic for like a little bit?
確かにそうです。でも私が信じているということをお二人に伝えました。それで十分ではないですか？どういうことよ？例えばお二人が辛い状況にあって諦めてしまいそうになった時、信じて待っている人がいると思い出すことができれば、
それが立ち上がる力になるかもしれません。
Man, that's some there is always hope shit.
信じるだけというのはいかにも無責任なように思えますが、信じるってそういう力があると私は思います。
サチ
You're strong, Sachi.
分かった。だったら私も信じて待ってるから。私だって信じてあげてもいいのよ。っていうか信じるわよ。
はい、どうにも最近のみちる様は語尾が不明瞭でいけませんね。もっと大きな声で元気よくおっしゃっていただけますか？
I like how we all are just given like being like, what? Sorry, what'd you say, Michiru?
ああ、もうわかったわよ。大きな声で言えばいいんでしょ。信じるわよ。これでいい？
I'm sorry. Can you please say that again?
チルチルがちゃんとツンデレしてる。長生きはするものなのよさ。
I love when Makina just starts cackling like a little fucking maniac.
そうそう、人間長生きはするものだよ、マキちゃん。ですからマキちゃんも風見さんも必ず帰ってくると約束してください。
But that's
嘘でもいいですからお願いします。そしてその言葉を信じて待っている者がここにいるとご記憶に留めていただきたく思います。
oh god. Oh, understood. We'll be back. Maka and I both.
はい、お待ちしております。
約束だからね。絶対帰ってくるのよ。いい？
Yeah, it's a promise.
マキナ、あんたもちゃんと戻ってくるのよ。いい？はい、ありがとうチルチル。ありがとうみんな。
Come on. Let's go, Makina. With a forceful nod, Makina snaps her slipper-clad heels smartly together and squeezes her hands into fists. Standing at attention, she turns her gaze around the room, taking in the faces of her friends one by one.
イリス・マキナ、行ってまいります。どうか皆様、お達者で。
Lowering her head about 10 degrees, the girl offers a salute worthy of a professional, then turns around and walks off without another word. Damn. There's a possibility we'll never see them again. Are you really alright with that quick farewell?
大丈夫なのよさ。きっとまた必ず会えるって私も信じてるし。また戻ってこれるんでしょ。
Yeah, that's right. Guaranteed.
だったら何も問題ないのよさ。
Things are gonna be way...
ユミちゃんにお別れを言えなかったのは残念だけどね。
I mean, you kinda did with what you done diddly did, you know? Well, she's a bit of a special case, I suppose.
どういうこと？
Look up to the roof of the school. She just... After briefly squinting up at the distant building, Makina retrieves her scope from her bag, then presses the rubber cup to her eye.
ユミちゃんだ。こっち見てる。あの子、あんなとこで何してんのよさ。
Must be her way of sending us off, I suppose. I see. So she went with this approach, huh? I was expecting something along the lines of her listlessly leaning against the wall at the end of the platform, watching in silence as our train rolled away, but whatever.
なんであんな無駄に格好をつけてるの？
That's just Yumiko for ya. Don't say that. Pulls it off pretty well, doesn't she? Why don't you hit her with a little swagger of your own?
まあそうな。
So I look up the sky. This beautiful sky.
赤よ親友
There you go. Wait, did you two really get along that well?
そう言うなよ。
While our exit scene was a bit on the haphazard side, with this, Makina and I have taken our leave of Mahama Academy. We're not running away in defeat, but rather falling back to fight another day. Still, when I think rationally about the odds of us ever returning to this place, it's hard to help feeling more than a little glum as well. But when I glance down at Makina, expecting to find some form of sorrow distorting her face after our abrupt departure, I'm somewhat surprised to find she doesn't look particularly discouraged, let alone teary-eyed. If anything, her bright and optimistic expression reminds me of a young girl heading out to the zoo hand in hand with her father. That attitude's clearly only possible because of Makina's gentle trust in me, so I don't particularly feel the need to remind her this isn't a game. There's no need to share my burden with her. From this point on, things will get a little murky. I've roughly decided that we'll be concealing ourselves within the city, but the specific area and the details of how we'll be getting there are still up in the air. In any case, we've only just taken the first step on our somewhat contradictory attempt at bold and determined retreat. It's definitely nice that we were able to rush out of Mahama Academy without leaving any ill will or regrets behind in our wake, but now we have to face the real problems. The first hurdle we need to clear is arranging a method of transportation. It wouldn't be that problematic if I was alone, but with Makina tagging along, it's the ancient wolf with club dilemma. The range we can reasonably expect to cover on foot is severely limited. I did consider asking Amine to loan us a vehicle, but if at all possible, I don't want to risk dragging her into this. Material aiding and abetting would be more than enough to land her deep in hot water. In the first place, hurrying to a crowded place where we can blend in by zipping along all by ourselves on a conspicuous motorcycle would be the definition of cart before the horse. And since we have nothing whatsoever in any way of support, it's painfully clear that avoiding the watchful gaze of the N system and street cameras will be a major challenge. Using public transportation, such as buses or trains, would be the ideal countermeasure, since the other passengers will become human shields in camouflage. Oh man. Which leaves us with the thorny problem of slipping past the surveillance camped around the train station. But the black motorcycle from the other day is nowhere to be found, and in its place... Hey, Makina. Sorry, but can you head up the platform first and wait for me?
でも
Don't worry, I'll be there soon. But if I don't show up within 30 minutes, head for the place written on this piece of paper. Can you handle that?
うーん
If I don't come back in 30 minutes, I'll assume the worst. Don't make that face. I don't want you to act on your own right off the bat either, but even I have a few obligations I can't just walk away from. Here, I'll give you the money I scammed off Michio earlier. Get yourself a box lunch while you wait or something, even though Amine made you one.
アイスも買っていい？
Oh, yeah, I suppose you can. Ice cream comes after the meal. I'll buy it for you later, so just be patient.
きっとよ。
Yeah. Right where the surveillance operative's black motorcycle was parked yesterday, or the other day. Well, yes. There's an exceptionally eye-catching bright yellow sports car. There's only one person who'd be parking a gaudy thing like that around
ちょっ
here.
とあなたとお話がしたいのだけれど、少しお時間いいかしら。
Oh boy. Here we go. Not as if you're gonna stop talking if I say no, right? Beginning the conversation with a heavy sigh and the words, "I knew it would come to this." JB cricks her neck back and forth in a familiar gesture of exasperation. Well, I'd more or less assumed she'd see right through me, and I'd been prepared for the possibility she'd get in touch somehow once we took action, but I have to admit I didn't expect her to clear the area for the face-to-face meeting like this.
行くあてはあるの？
I got a lot of places to go. Not really, and even if I did, I couldn't exactly tell you about it, as you're well aware, JB. I like to think I understand you almost as well as you understand me. You can't betray Ichigaya, can you?
子供が知った風な口を。
I know that you're incapable of sacrificing the large for the small. You believe in prioritizing the big picture, and you've lived by that principle all this time. If you chose to betray the organization for our sake here, and now all those small things you've sacrificed up till this point would have died in vain. You can't possibly do that. Even if you could, I wouldn't ask you to.
無駄なことよ。やめておきなさい。どうせあなたたちはすぐに処分される。でも、今ここで両手を上げるのならば、確保で済ませることもできる。
And then what happens? You planning to re-educate me? Or maybe arrange a summary execution? Well, I'm just an unusually high-priced piece of disposable equipment, so I suppose that'd be fitting enough. But what happens to Makina? If we hand her over to her family, she'll be killed. Am I wrong? If I'm going to be put down in the end anyway, I'll use the rest of my life for Makina's sake.
落ち着いてよく考えなさい。あなた一人で何ができるというの？これは赤坂と市ヶ谷の相違で決まったことなのよ。
Yeah, that's another thing I don't understand. Why go that far? We're talking about Makina here, you know? A perfectly commonplace, slightly dim-witted girl with some awkward family circumstances. What meaning is there in killing one insignificant woman like that? Why would the nation itself fixate on her like this? Sorry, you don't have to answer that. I've already openly declared my intention to become a traitor. Just by coming to meet me like this, JB's already placed herself in a significantly unfavorable position. And especially given that she's my direct superior and case officer, if the cards fall badly, it's entirely plausible to imagine her being taken into custody herself. I thought leaving quietly would be an act of courtesy towards you. That way you could just be the dumb blonde who didn't see any of this coming. Tell me something, JB. If you knew what I was gonna do, then why are you here?
そうね。ちゃんとお互いに顔を見て話し合えば、あなたを説得できる。そんな風に甘く考えていたのかもしれないわね。
Definitely some wishful thinking. So you've given up on trying to persuade me?
おっぱい触らせてあげるって言ったら諦める？
No. Let me think that one over.
考えるんだ。でも考えるだけよね。結局結論は変わらない。初志貫徹ってわけじゃないけど、一度こうだと決めたら絶対にブレない。諦めない。そういう強情なところは師匠譲りかしらね。
I'd say I got that from my big sister, actually. Kazuki always said to live every day picturing myself 10 years in the future, you know. And if I were to abandon that girl now, even in 10 years, I'd probably be a miserable piece of trash, unable to even raise my head in front of Makina's grave. I won't take that path.
その結果、自分が命を落とすことになっても
Dying for the woman you fell in love with strikes me as a pretty damn good way to go.
それは残された女の気持ちを考えない男の身勝手よ。
My master taught me, you're not a man until you find something that matters more to you than your own life.
朝子を盾にすれば私が何でも納得すると思ったら大間違いよ。
Oh yeah? Well, if you think thrusting your breasts out is going to make me listen, you're even more mistaken.
あら、じゃあいらないの？おっぱい。
I didn't say that now. Let's not get hasty.
ひどい会話ね。自分がここへ何しに来たのか忘れそうだわ。
Go ahead. Forget it entirely. Then turn around and go home.
冷たいのね。
Sorry.
謝らないでよ。あなたを責めるために来たわけじゃないわ。
Well, you don't appear to be armed, so I suppose you won't be trying to convince me at gunpoint either. In which case, I think we're done.
どうせ私が何を言ったって無駄でしょ。朝子も裕二もいつだってそうだった。それでももう一度だけ警告するわ。やめておきなさい。今逃げればあなたもマキナも必ず死ぬ。このまま逃げ回っていればいつかはイリスケも諦めると思っているのならそれは間違いよ。
What do you mean by that?
これは私が独自に調べた情報だし、あまり確実とは言えないソースからの情報なのだけれど、先日の夜イリス・マキナからイリス・キヨカに電話があったそうよ。
Yes, yes. Okay. That's right, the day the bakery was set on fire. After returning to the dorm in tears that night, Makina definitely said she was going to call her mother, although I never heard the details. Never!
その時の電話でマキナはもうこれ以上私に関わらないでほしい。これ以上の干渉が続くようであれば過去の汚職の事実を暴露すると。
Oh, that was probably not a good threat, which she should have said.
母親を相手に逆に脅しをかけたらしいわ。
That would explain this abrupt assassination plan, wouldn't it?
そういうこと。
God damn it, Makina. They pushed Irisu Masataka, there we go, into an early grave to protect themselves, and now they're going to do the same to his daughter.
イリス・マキナの記憶力はあなたも知っているでしょ。彼女は幼い頃父親の書斎で偶然に見かけた汚職関連の資料の内容を未だに覚えているみたいね。電話口で母親に向かって当時の資料をそらんじて聞かせたらしいわ。具体的な数字や取引相手の企業の名前が判明してしまえば、あとは少し調べるだけでもボロボロと不正が発覚してしまう。マキナが生きている限り安心はできない。いつどこから情報が漏れるともしれない。それを恐れたイリスケはマキナの暗殺に踏み切ったというわけよ。
But how did that job end up coming to me? Ichigaya, Asaka, and even Kamasugi approved this assassination. I don't understand why.
それだけイリス一族の力が国政にも深く根付いているということよ。下手に逆らったところで誰も得をしない。
Friendship's one thing, but your wallet's another, huh? Makes me sick. In the first place, since you know our secrets, we can't let you live. Are these people capitalists or gangsters? I mean, I'm not completely naive about the workings of the world. If you asked me to name a few righteous, ethically sound organizations, all I do is just stand there scratching my head like an idiot. I know how things work. But an organization that kills children to prop itself up, that's one thing I don't even understand. An organization that needs to go that far to keep itself standing should just collapse.
あなた一人でイリス家を滅ぼすというの？無理よ。このままではあなたも始末の対象になる。
I'll take anyone down with me. I knew that from the start. If I can't live without taking human lives, then take them. Those are just the rules of the game. Nothing to trouble your conscience over. But if you're coming to take someone's life, go in prepared to lose your own instead. I won't hesitate to kill this time.
そんなことあなたにできるの？
Wrong question. It's the only thing I am capable of. There's nothing else I can do to help her. Maybe that makes me the bad guy. But even so, I've made up my mind. For Makina's sake, I'll sink as low as I have to. However many you send, I'll kill them. I'll kill all of them. I'll keep killing and killing for years on end, if need be. Even if they send you, JB. Damn! Damn! That's how serious we are about this.
嫌な目ね。ドロドロに濁ってどんどん色が抜けていく。出会ったばかりの頃、病院のベッドの上で見たあの頃のあなたの目だわ。
Well, maybe this is just my true nature. Don't resist orders from above. Don't doubt. Don't think. Just obey. Keep what you really think buried safely away. Maintain the facade and you'll trudge through life without problems. But what's the point of an existence like that? After Asako died, I lost my purpose. But now I found Makina and my life has meaning again. I won't let anyone take that away.
あなたにとってあの子はそれだけの価値があると？
What can I say? Seems like caring about someone can really sneak up to you little by little. From the moment they're born, human beings are given something to protect, namely their own existence. The most precious thing we have, the possession we should treasure above all else, is our life. But through the passage of time, our priorities grow more complicated. Often we find something that matters even more than ourselves. For example, our families. For example, our motherland. And while a few people probably grow up still treasuring their lives above all else, even they fight to protect the things they need to protect themselves. After human beings live, they naturally find more things to protect. And when they find something more precious than their own lives, something that they would throw away everything else to protect, people undergo a change, even if it leaves them broken or miserable or poor. Even at the cost of their own dignity and pride, even to the point of foolishness, they struggle for the sake of that something. Keeping it safe becomes their only joy. The only way they could keep themselves whole. And so they toss aside anything that gets in their way. Take any measures unnecessary and protect it with everything they have. I'm afraid of change, but I want to change. That contradiction is part of me, but I won't let it paralyze me. I'll walk forward, step by painful step. JB, you understand, right? I don't value my life particularly highly. I'm alright with dying whenever and wherever. Hell, it could have happened a dozen times by now on the job. But if I'm gonna croak one way or the other, I want a death that has some meaning. I want a reason to look back and say I lived for something. I played that role for Asako, and now Makina's taken it on for me. People like us can't live any other way. And I think it's probably the only way we can die, too.
バカよ。あなたも、朝子も。
You don't have to tell me that. I'm well aware. I was born stupid and a coward to boot. Nothing to be done about it now. As the conversation comes to a pause, I glance down at my watch on my left wrist. It's time. I'm leaving now. Better get back to work yourself, JP.
待って、ユージ。
What now?
あなた、その格好のまま逃げる気？
Well, With those words, JB retrieves her wallet from her breast pocket and takes out a few 10,000 yen bills.
服を買いなさい。制服のまま人を殺さないで。それと、 女性に対するマナーの本でも買いなさい。
Huh. Yeah, sure. I'll do just that. Sorry. And thank you, Julia.
こんな時ばっかりジュリアって呼ばないで。私のことなんて便利な女としか思ってないくせに。ムカつくのよ、あなた。勝手にどこへでも行けばいいじゃない。もう知らないんだから。
I just don't care anymore.
知らないんだから。バカ。
Oh, I understand. My bad. I made her cry, huh? Come to think of it, it seems like I'm always bringing JB to tears. What with all the orders I've ignored. Not to mention the insubordination and rule breaking. But this time they must taste even much more bitter than ever before. After Osco died, I began to stubbornly refuse any order to kill. It was JB who supported and protected me. I've repaid her with outright betrayal.
終わった
After leaving JB behind and going up the station platform, I find Makina seated on a bench munching away on a cheap meat dumpling lunch. That looks tasty.
パパの分もちゃんと買ってあるのよ。
Oh, thank you, Makina, you little sweetheart. Yeah, I think I'll just take it. When I retrieve the box from Makina and try to untie the strings crossed over the top, I notice that my fingers are shaking. The fuck?
どうしたのパパ？
I think something's wrong with me. No, it's nothing. If at all possible, I don't want to kill anyone. But if I don't, we'll both die. I knew that from the start, of course. But now that I've just declared it outright to JB, I guess the unavoidable reality of the situation finally sank in. I'm not particularly fond or afraid of dying. I'm not that attached to my life, but right now I have someone who I need to protect at any cost. Failure is no longer an option, and my hands won't stop trembling.
ごめんねパパ。私のせいで。
You don't have to apologize for anything. This is how it has to be. I don't know any other way of life. If anything, I'm grateful to you.
感謝。
You and I might have just each have met each other just in the nick of time. I needed Makina and she needed me. Looking on it now, this outcome might have been inevitable from the moment I met her. This girl might have been waiting in the school for me, waiting to offer me one final chance. I really, truly am grateful. Pretty good stuff, isn't it? Even though it's a cheap dumpling meal. I don't regret a thing. From a local train at Mishima Cape, we switched to an express after 2 stops. 4 stations later, we got on another local heading in the direction, only to disembark at the first stop to catch a semi-express. Riding that all the way to Shinjuku, we cut through the maze-like subterranean tunnels toward Shinjuku Sanchome Station, where we switched to the subway. We are literally just going well, we need to go as far as humanly possible. And by far, I mean get into the city and, well, live out our lives there.